Today, Republicans have called this DOGE hearing called Locking in the DOGE Cuts, Ending Waste, Fraud, and Abuse for Good. And I'm deeply concerned about the cuts that DOGE has made to services for our veterans. The committee should not be holding hearings on locking in DOGE cuts. We should be holding hearings about restoring services for our veterans. And while DOGE is screwing over our veterans, the administration is also stealing from seniors. We just learned about a huge new scandal that every senior in America needs to hear about. After Trump and Musk made massive cuts to the staff at the Social Security Administration, they've scrubbed government websites of information about how long it takes to get your phone call answered. They have erased from the websites the delays that it takes to process benefit claims. They have wiped away what used to be publicly available about how long it takes to respond to a 1-800 call at the Social Security Administration. This is a cover-up. And why are they covering it up? Because wait times have exploded. A brave whistleblower just estimated that Trump's changes and Elon Musk's cuts have doubled the amount of time it takes to process a Social Security claim. Everybody needs to hear about it. Social Security is not Elon Musk's piggy bank. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. No one loves veterans more than President Trump, and he's made that apparent. That's why he's working for peace
Madam Chair,
right now.
It's not your time right now.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how
I'm the
parliamentary procedure works.
You're not
Madam
recognized, Ms.
Chairwoman.
Stanberry.
You're not
recognized.
recognized either. You can't just speak anytime you want.
I'm the
That's
chair of
not
this
how
committee.
That's not how it
Ms.
works.
Stansbury,
Madam-
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
all day, but that's not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not
parliamentary-
recognized.
We're getting.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and let's be real and call it what it is. DOGE. It's Elon Musk's leftover fraud scheme. A bloated billionaire serving agenda that he left behind like a flaming Tesla battery.
These reckless DOGE cuts have thrown VA hospitals into chaos. And in my own district, I've gotten reports of veterans waiting months for basic services like a wheelchair. I represent San Antonio, Texas, Military City, USA, where we honor the service of our men and women in uniform. And if we want to honor our veterans, we honor it with more than just words. We take actions to care for them when they come home. We don't needlessly send people into harm's way, and we don't cut their services for when they come home.
This whole thing was cooked up like a half-baked tech bro casserole of cruelty, while Elon Musk, the emotionally fragile Tesla overlord with a MAGA cape, played special government employee, all under the guise of cutting fraud, waste, and abuse. But what did he actually do? Simple. It shredded government programs that serve everyday Americans with chainsaw precision, ripping through veterans' care, slashing Social Security, firing VA workers, closing clinics, shutting down suicide hotlines, and scrubbing transparency websites like it was a cover-up operation. And then, to make it worse, it handed over scraps of our public trust, our institutions, our safety nets, our hard-won services to billionaires on a silver platter. Like Judas taking a bribe. Talk about the ultimate betrayal, and yet here it is, still alive like Frankenstein's monster, screaming into the night, still funded, still protected, and still represented by the sellouts like Marge the Trainwreck Green, banging her gavel like she's tenderizing roadkill.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how it
Ms.
works.
Stansbury,
Madam-
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
all day, but that's not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not
parliamentary-
recognized.
We're going to get you a Robert's
Ms.
Rules of
Stansbury,
Order
you're
and
not-
the
A
committee
point of
Ms.
order.
Stansbury,
so that
you're
you
not
can-
recognized.
so that
Point
you
of
can
order.
Understand parliamentary procedure.
Point of order.
Okay.
Point of order.
All right, Madam Chair, calm down.
And if you're looking for the real fraud, waste, and abuse, don't you dare look at our veterans. Don't you dare point fingers at our seniors. Instead, take a long, hard look at that room, because the witnesses that were sitting before Representative Caesar weren't there to tell the truth. They were hand-picked hitmen for the billionaire class. This panel was on Team Marge from the get-go. They came to justify cuts to suicide hotlines, housing support, and clinical trials for throat cancer. And why, you may ask? Just look at who they represent. The Heritage Foundation, EPIC, and the Foundation for American Innovation. These weren't independent experts. They're the architects of Project 2025, organizations that were part of the planning process for this so-called reform that's really just a billionaire hit job on the federal government.
DOGE cuts have stalled life-saving clinical trials for our veterans with head and neck cancer, otherwise known as throat cancer. Can you tell me, are life-saving clinical trials for our veterans waste, or are they fraud, or are they abuse?
I think that's an area of government that is certainly vital, and that there's many things that can be done to improve VA services. I do not know all that DOGE has done for the VA, and I think that if there's anywhere where you could repurpose funds from these wastes that we're talking about, hundreds of billions of dollars misspent.
But if they cut the clinical trials that are helping our veterans with throat cancer, do you agree with those cuts?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Dickerson, leaked documents revealed that a VA hospital in rural Illinois was just forced to close its acute care unit to new patients due to the DOGE cuts. Can you tell me, is closing the doors of a VA acute care unit waste, or is it fraud, or is it abuse?
I don't know all the details about that particular instance, but I think that...
Would you say it's a big problem if DOGE cuts cause the closing of an acute care facility in a VA hospital?
Like I said, I think if funding that facility is a priority, we're running a $2 trillion annual
I think
deficit.
it is. I think it is a priority.
So we can repurpose funds to something if it's a priority.
So you think that if it's not a priority, that it's waste?
I think that's for Congress and the administration to work together to determine.
Exactly. It's for Congress to work on, and the administration should not be calling our acute care veterans facilities waste and closing the doors of an acute care facility without Congress. And frankly, it is a priority, I believe, of the American people to care for our veterans. Mr. Burton, Trump recently eliminated the VA Services Purchasing Program, which just last year helped more than 33,000 veterans make sure that they don't get behind on their mortgage and they don't get thrown out of their home. Can you tell me, is this program that DOGE cut, is it waste, is it fraud, or is it abuse?
That's highly fact-dependent, and I'm not that familiar with that program. I will tell you one thing.
And I'll tell you, Mr. Burton,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. It helped 33,000 of our veterans not lose their homes. And in my view, our veterans are not waste, fraud, or abuse, nor are they a piggy bank for billionaires' tax cuts like Elon Musk.
I doubt anyone.
This is my
thinks that.
time, Mr. Burton.
Yep. Fine.
I am deeply concerned that President Trump will take reckless action to risk sending more American troops into endless wars in the Middle East. But back at home, he's breaking the sacred promise to our veterans to care for them when and if they come back. Donald Trump has already tried to fire thousands of people at the VA, and recent reporting shows that there are plans to try to fire 80,000 people at the VA.
So given that information, given the fact that this panel was stacked with operatives from the very organizations planning the Project 2025 demolition job, you hopefully now can understand, maybe even appreciate the righteous fire that Representative Greg Casar brought into that hearing. He wasn't being rude or pushy. What we saw was intestinal fortitude in action. That was a man grilling weenies like it was a Sunday afternoon barbecue on a George Foreman grill. Because when you testify in a hearing with veterans' lives on the line, when you know they're trying to gaslight the American people into thinking that a cancer trial of senior benefits is a waste, you don't play nice. You don't let it slide. You bring the heat. And that's exactly what Representative Greg Casar did. He cut through the spin and flipped the entire hearing up on its ass. He exposed their lies, reversed their narrative, and put the real stakes out there. Our veterans, our seniors, and our country back to the center of the conversation. And in that room of policy mercenaries and gavel-banging nut jobs, he was the one voice that actually was fighting for the people. The cuts that Casar is talking about are sabotage. They are the worst things that this administration could do, and they're doing it quietly and on purpose. While DOGE is gutting veterans' care in broad daylight, they're sneaking into the Social Security Administration and burning the evidence. And I mean that literally. They've erased entire sections of government websites that used to tell everyone how long they'll have to wait on hold for help, how long it takes to get a disability claim processed, how slow the system has become for people just trying to survive. Gone, scrubbed, deleted. Why? Because the delays are exploding and they don't want you to see what they've done. The whistleblower that Casar mentions exposed the truth. Thanks to Trump's reforms and Musk's budget-slashing script, the wait time to process a Social Security claim has doubled. Let me repeat that. They are making it hard for seniors and disabled Americans to access the benefits they have already earned. And then they're hiding the proof. This isn't fiscal conservatism. It's a damn cover-up. It's full-blown corruption and cruelty by design. DOGE isn't just cutting the lifelines. They're turning off the lights so you can't see what's actually missing. And now on top of all of that, here comes Marge, the train wreck Green, crying about decorum. Decorum? From the woman who can't even spell the damn word? She's over here banging her gavel like she's tenderizing roadkill for the Georgia gas station barbecue and acting out parliamentary procedure like she learned it from the Facebook meme. She has no clue what she's doing. She's not a chair. She's a Neanderthal swamp monster in a blonde wig, flailing around the hearing room, shrieking like some prehistoric relic, trying to intimidate her prey by being the loudest idiot in the room. She yells, "I'm the chair," like that means anything. No, Marge, being the loudest and dumbest doesn't make you right. It just makes you loud. Oh, and also annoying. This is the same woman who interrupted President Biden during the State of the Union, screaming like a lunatic and didn't face a single consequence. While black lawmakers get dragged out of the chambers, Marge gets a gavel. Because in this America, privilege wears pearls and peddles propaganda. Justin Jones, expelled for raising his voice against gun violence, or Representative Maxine Waters, silenced for defending democracy. Meanwhile, Marge the Trainwreck Green interrupts the State of the Union, shouts down her colleagues, and peddles QAnon trash, and what happens? She gets a chairmanship. She gets Fox News. She gets protection. That's not oversight. That's a double standard on steroids. If you're loud, white, and loyal to Trump, you get away with damn near anything. And if you're anyone else, you get dragged out, censored, or worse. Marge isn't powerful. She's protected. And that protection is the real sickness in this system. She doesn't understand government. She doesn't know how a hearing works. Hell, I'm not even sure she passed high school civics. Social studies, failed it. History, ignored it. Basic logic, non-existent. But she's not the brightest bulb in the box. She's the dullest crayon in the conspiracy theorist coloring book, still trying to color in the borders of her QAnon fantasy while actual Americans are getting screwed by the policies that she enables. And she's still somehow at the center of all of this, screaming, gaslighting, banging a gavel, and pretending that's leadership. It's not. It's theater. It's chaos. It's propaganda in a pantsuit. So here is the bottom line. While Greg Caesar was fighting for truth, for veterans, for seniors, Marge the Trainwreck Green was fighting for attention. While he exposed the fraud, she screamed over the facts. While he grilled billionaire lapdogs, she tenderized roadkill and called it leadership. This hearing told us everything that we need to know. DOGE is a con. Project 2025 is a blueprint for suffering. And Marge the Trainwreck Green is the chaos puppet sent to distract us while they rob us blind. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.